Okay, Department Q is a show that's shown up on Netflix and is an ever-present reminder that we as Americans need to be watching more British shows. I don't know what it is about British shows. I mean, I just don't really watch them. I mean, maybe Doctor Who, but even that I wasn't really even getting into, and I couldn't tell you what happened in the last few seasons of Doctor Who. So yeah, hasn't it been rebooted? And who's the new Doctor now? I don't even know. Seriously, this isn't about Doctor Who. This is about Department Q. Ooh, that rhymed. Anyway, Department Q is a really intriguing show that is is about cold cases. Now, I believe there's a lot of great shows about cold cases. Isn't there a show that's called Cold Case Files about, I think we're always entranced by this as a society. This idea that we have these unsolved cases that just were never solved, and somebody's going to eventually just, open the case and figure out, sorry. I had a lot of these things in a row. But somebody's got to figure out the case. So the show begins with an investigator. His name is something, I think Mork is his last name. And he's on I think actually this happens. One day he's off duty with his partner, and they respond to a crime scene. Now this is not according to procedure, and there's a constable at the door who's guarding it, and it's we think there's somebody dead in there because of the smell, and you actually kind of see the footage of them thanks to a body cam that they go and investigate the scene, and then this officer is fired upon, and two of the people that are in the room die, and so this character has a lot of PTSD from this incident, and if this is the case he wants to be working on, but because of his actions it was not really right for him to do that, and plus also he's kind of that loose cannon sort of character. He's taken off the case and is given an entire department to work on some cold cases. Now while they're showing that, this is one of those shows that is showing a lot of things happening at once, but they're also showing this one woman who's, I guess, a lawyer or barrister. I think that might be the term that they use in Britain, but apparently this lady was trying this one guy who, it looks like he killed his wife, but and he probably did, and he gets off not guilty. And this woman is starting to receive these very hostile and threatening messages. And to make matters even weirder, this woman is also taking care of her brother, who's going through some serious mental issues. So at first I kind of thought, oh, I get it, she's probably going to join up with this new task force, because they also introduced this other character who's I don't really remember his name, but he's kind of yeah, I think he's got a mustache, and he's very intelligent, and because this guy Mork, when he was transferred to this department, they just send him down this basement, and there's hardly any facilities down there, and they just give him a bunch of case files, and they say oh, we're going to get you an assistant. So they get him this assistant guy. In the meantime, they kind of show this up at the top, I swear, every cop is getting new computers, and there's this huge TV, and it's and the police person in charge is going hey, put that in my office and stuff like that. So you're kind of seeing this thing where it's wow, Mork is just getting just completely the lower tier assignment here, while everyone else seems to be getting upgrades. And it's an interesting dichotomy they're doing. So at one point in time, Mork's assistant starts opening these things and looking at them, and there's one case in particular that he thinks that they can solve. And what it is, and what I loved about this, was that they introduced this element of this one lawyer who, was getting threats, and they show her again, and this time she's on a ship with her brother. They're on a ferry or something like that, and they kind of get in an altercation. There's a bit of a thing. Her brother actually hits her, and then the lady leaves, and from that moment she has disappeared, and it's been 4 years. That's the thing that I liked about this. On the first episode, they revealed this very important plot point, and this drew me in. I thought okay, I was feeling okay about this show at first, and then I suddenly went okay, I am all in. And I think it's very important for any movie or television show to have that moment. And that moment can unfortunately be forced, where I feel like, okay, now we're going to really hit them hard. And it's like, now we're going to put a plot twist here because we can. This one I felt like, okay, I'm actually really more invested in this show now than I was before. So kudos to them for making something like that. So now apparently this show, and I'm only on its second episode. I haven't really watched all 9 of its episodes. And it's very difficult for me to even talk about shows like this now, which, because Netflix shows, I mean, they usually just dump the whole season on you, unless they do it in certain parts, which they're planning on doing that in, what's it called? Stranger Things. So they've dumped this whole thing, so I could watch all of it and get back and do like one rant. I don't know. I was just really invested in this thing, and if anything, I want you to watch this show because I think it's, I mean, I don't even really like cop shows. And one thing I really liked is the title sequence. It has a really good title sequence. I'm just going to tell you that. I'm not going to show you it. I'm not going to, it's just like, it's really unusual. And I have to admit, I'm not really sure what they're going for with this Department Q. I have to admit, I don't really know why it's called that. Apparently it is based on a book series or a book. And so I'm not sure what the Q stands for. Considering we have I don't think it has anything to do with the whole QAnon thing. And I don't really like, I think there is an entire culture devoted to that thing. So like if you use Q, that means something. It's like you don't like do that. But essentially, yeah, or maybe this is Avenue Q, and it's like, that's with like, that's like with the curse word puppets or something like that. That's has nothing to do with that. Okay. So in other words, like this is basically a detective show where these cops are trying to track down this cold case. And here's what we discover about this one lady who's been missing for 4 years. She's actually in a prison. She's in this kind of, I don't know, there's like this, you actually see this from the outside. There's like this pipe that she's kind of stuck in somewhere in the city, and she has like a bed there and a toilet, and they give her food and stuff like that. I have no idea why anybody would trap somebody like this, keep them alive like this. It's insane to me. And this kind of went like, okay, who would even do this? And wouldn't it just be easier just to kill her? I mean, obviously they got her off the ferry and were able to make her disappear like that. Dude, just finish the job. And I kind of went like, okay, there must be a reason for this. And that is how the first episode ends, with showing this woman still in this prison after 4 years, and it shows. Like I get the feeling like if you were to bury me in a certain place for about 4 years, I mean, I think you would see that's kind of like, I just wouldn't be normal after that. I would not be me after that, I can tell you that much. And yeah, they show this here, and they kind of do that thing. And I have to admit, I kind of thought, okay, that's kind of interesting. So yeah, that's the case these guys are solving. And episode 2 was just basically them sort of trying to track down any leads that they have, because this is a cold case. Like they couldn't find any evidence after 4 years. And then I don't know what the police procedure is in Britain or in America, that if they can't find evidence as far as like what's going on, and I'm assuming that they just quit, but they still keep an ear to the ground in case something else comes up. And the fact that that they started this Department Q devoted to cases like this is rather interesting. But yeah, you can tell that the guy so there's kind of like 2 big cases happening on the show right now. There's one that the guy who the original main character was a part of. And it'd be fun if these cases were kind of linked together. If they try and do that thing, that might actually work. I don't know what direction they're really going with this. I will just say, like, watch more British shows, for crying out loud. I mean, I think I did a little rant about Adolescence and how good a show that was. And that was only like a limited series. I don't know if Department Q is going to get a second season. Something tells me that this feels like one of those shows that has too many plot elements to wrap up in 9 episodes. But hey, maybe they can do a lot. Who knows? Anyway, I'm going to end this a little early because that's about all I got to say about this show so far. This is Mark from the Geek Church, signing off.